Good morning everybody, welcome back to the Horse Racing Enthusiast on what is a dark day for horse racing. And what do I mean by that? Well, many of us in the past and still feel that at times horse racing is rather corrupt. And I think the Hill Shin story sums that up quite brilliantly, really. And there has been some very severe sentences handed out as a result of the Hilshin inquiry from a race back in 2023 when Hilshin was prevented from winning. The investigation has now been concluded. I have included the article on this video, but I'm just going to read out some of it to you on what is, as I've said, a dark day for horse racing and what many of us have suspected for many years. Now, I'm not saying it's rife, this, in horse racing, but it just opens the dark side to it. Right, associate John Higgins and jockey Dylan Kitts banned, listen to this, for 12 and 9 years respectively, as long-running Hilshin investigation is finally concluded. Now, what it says, it's a great article in the Racing Post. This John Higgins and Dylan Kitts, who conspired to deliberately prevent Hilshin from winning in July 2023, have been banned from racing for 12 and 9 years. Trainer Chris Honor, who was judged not to be part of the conspiracy, but was found to have misled stewards after the conditional jockey's handicap hurdle at Worcester, has been fined £750. The penalties for Higgins and Kitts at the conclusion of the long-running investigation are among the most severe ever handed down by the disciplinary panel and were described by the BHA as sending a clear message that British racing will not tolerate actions of this kind. And they added that the running of Hilshin undermined the efforts of the tens of thousands of people who work tirelessly across the industry for British horse racing. British horse racing remains a global leader built on a culture of integrity and fair competition, and this has thrown that into doubt. Higgins, the father-in-law of professional footballer Ashley Barnes, who of course is coming towards the end of his career, but many of us know Ashley Barnes, was deemed to be the mastermind behind the plan to stop Hilshin from winning following a 4-day hearing in September, which he did not attend, apparently due to illness. The panel determined Higgins, an associate of Hilshin's registered owner Alan Clegg, had groomed Kitts, the £7 conditional rider, with a promise of future rides and potential financial reward. No charges were brought against Clegg, the owner. Higgins was placed on BHA exclusion list in March 2024 for failing to cooperate with the Hilshin investigation, with his ban being backdated to start from the date he became excluded. Hilshin became the subject of BHA investigation following the run at Worcester in July 23, where he finished a close third under tender handling by Kitts. The jockey reported Hilshin had made a noise and hung in the closing stages, making him difficult to ride, and that his instructions had been hold on to the horse's head for as long as possible to help him finish the race. Hilshin was suspended from running for 40 days, and Kitts voluntarily stood down after the race before having his licence formally suspended the following week. During his time, Kitts went on holiday and had the word Hilshin tattooed on his bottom, which he said in the disciplinary hearing was meant as a sign he had put the incident behind him. Why would you? At a penalties hearing last Tuesday, Kitts' mother, Debbie, said her son, who was expecting his first child in February, was liable for punishment when it was decided that his heart is still in racing and that he had cooperated with the investigators. Kitts' 9-year ban is backdated to July 23, when his licence was suspended. Now, look, when things like this happen and a horse is prevented from winning, and thousands upon thousands of people have put potentially over £1 million on a horse between them, then we have a right to hear these stories. Now, those punishments are extreme, to say the very least, 12 year and 9 year. But the transparency, the integrity has been thrown into doubt, hasn't it? And it's not the first dark day horse racing has had regarding the dodgy conclusion of a race. It seems to be quite a regular occurrence. Certainly a fair few times each year incidents arise. People who put money on horses, such as myself and thousands upon thousands out there, expect their money to be given a ride, let's say, for want of a better sentence. We expect, when we put money down on something after we've studied the form and studied this and that and the other, we expect value for money. Like we do in anything. We buy something, we expect it to be value for money. But of course you get what you pay for. In horse racing, like any other sport, corruptness obviously exists. It is worrying. It is. Now, I think those punishments will stop a lot of this ever happening again, because to be banned for 12 and 9 years, respectively, is phenomenal. Now, if this happens in football and they start banning people for 7 or 8 years, then pretty much their career is over. So, can other sports learn from the BHA? Suspend people for massive, lengthy sentences from the sport that they love and make an example of them. This is a dark day for horse racing, but us punters believe in the majority. I think 95% of horse racing is very clean, but it's that 5% that needs stamping out. Maybe these punishments of 12 and 9 years may well just do that. Thanks for watching The Horse Racing Enthusiast on Teesside Ste&Dee on a dark day for horse racing.